British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good morning, I'm Emily Deneen, and here's your news update to 10. The person who attacked two strangers on the streets of Vancouver is in court today. The suspect has been charged for murder and aggravated assault and is waiting sentencing. Our producer Ryan Sheridan is here with me now. Ryan, how is the victim who is still alive doing?
Hi, Emily. Thank you so much. The victim who is alive actually had their hand severed off. Their hand is back on, but it will never be at its fully functioning state ever again. In other news, Lytton, the town that was burned down, is seeing some delays in the rebuilding process. We have a reporter talking to a Lytton resident about how the delays are affecting the community. Statistics Canada released stats showing limited job opportunities in Vancouver. We have a reporter talking to an employee at the YWCA who specializes in finding people jobs. And stay tuned for our For the Record episode. We have a reporter talking to a local cake decorator who created a nonprofit for mental health. Emily, back to you.
Thanks, Ryan. The BC Green Party has announced their candidates in riding across the province. The party says environmental activist Ross Reed will represent the party on the west side of Vancouver Island. Announcements have also been made about the candidates for West Vancouver, Prince George, and Boundary Similkameen. The provincial election will take place on October 19th. After Meta imposed rules to have minors' accounts private on the platform, BC Premier David Eby shares his opinion. Eby calls this move the minimum that social media platforms can do to protect kids online. Eby also says that he is talking with tech firms working on a historic collaboration to ensure youth safety online. Over to Calgary, over 2,000 zoo professionals are attending an international conference in Calgary. This is the first conference in decades to be held outside of the United States. Association President Daniel Ash says zoos are changing from entertainment to conservation activity.
It's the first extinction event not caused by a meteor or volcanism, but caused by humans and what we're doing to the planet. So it's more important than ever that we know what we can do and that we're inspired by nature and we're engaged in nature, that we're aware of what we're doing to the planet.
General Motors Canada and Unifor have announced that they've reached an agreement over GM's Cami assembly plant in Ontario. Canadian press reporter Karen Rebo explains how this agreement happened.
Details of the new pact for the Cami assembly and battery assembly facilities in Ingersoll aren't known yet, but Unifor had said the contract talks would focus on wages, job security, and better pension plans. The union says a ratification meeting is set for Sunday. Unifor represents about 1,300 employees at the Cami plant. They build GM's Chevrolet Bright Drop electric delivery vans and battery modules. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
An accident at a Quebec military base has injured over 12 soldiers. Canadian press reporter Jason White explains the healing process of the injured.
The Canadian Armed Forces says the accident happened at CFB Valcartier, just outside Quebec City. It involved 2 armored vehicles in the base's training area on Tuesday afternoon. The military says 16 soldiers were taken to local hospitals, all with minor injuries. An investigation will now determine the causes of the accident. Jason White, The Canadian Press.
South Korea's military is currently analyzing the short-range missiles launched from North Korea this morning. And over to entertainment news, popular singer Billie Eilish posted on Instagram endorsing Kamala Harris's campaign. In Eilish's post, her and her brother say that they are voting for Harris because of her reproductive rights. Eilish is among many celebrities that have endorsed Harris in this upcoming election. It's 15 degrees out there with mostly clouds in the sky, and it'll get up to 18 degrees with a 30% chance of rain. That's been your news update to 10. Emily Deneen, BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikka-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Trettanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikka-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Good morning, I'm Spencer Pomeroy, and this is your 1010 Sports Update. Another women's basketball team on the West Coast. The WNBA announced today Portland will receive the league's 15th franchise. They will begin play in 2026, and the team will be owned and operated by Raj Sports. Portland joins Golden State and Toronto in this round of expansion. Previously, Portland had a WNBA team in 2000, the Portland Fire, before being dissolved in 2002. In baseball action last night, Juan Soto hit his 200th career home run to lead the Yankees to an 11-2 victory in Seattle. Mariners starter Brian Wu gave up 9 hits and 7 earned runs in 4 2/3 work. AL MVP favorite Aaron Judge tallied 4 RBIs in the win. In Baltimore, the Orioles couldn't keep pace in the AL East after Giants starter Blake Snell struck out 12 Orioles over 6 innings in a 10-0 victory. Orioles shortstop Gunnar Henderson talks about breaking their current slump.
Obviously, we know we've done it. There's new faces, but they're all really awesome players. So it's kind of weird not being able to get through it. But just got to keep pushing. It's eventually going to go our way at some point.
The Orioles now sit 4 games back of the Yankees for first place in the AL East. Dean Kramer goes tonight for the Orioles against the Giants, and Nestor Cortez will pitch tonight for the Yankees against one of his former teams in the Mariners. In the AL wildcard race, the Minnesota Twins are clinging on to the last spot after a 4-1 victory last night over the Cleveland Guardians. Twins outfielder Willie Castro patted the Twinkies' lead in the top of the 8th.
The 0-1 swung on and hit well to right field for Castro. Brennan going back, looking up, it's in the seats, and that is a lightning bolt from Willie Castro, a 2-run home run, and the Twins lead it 4-1.
Guardians host the Twins again this afternoon. First pitch is 3:40. In the National League, the Braves blew a 4-run lead in a 6-5 loss to the Cincinnati Reds. Reds outfielder Spencer Steer hit a go-ahead 2-run home run in the 7th to give the Reds the advantage. Braves manager Brian Snitker says they needed to keep scoring after taking the lead.
We kind of shot ourselves in the foot a couple times. And this is one of them places too, man. You're never safe here. You got to keep scoring but I just, there's just a couple plays probably could have been better executed, I guess.
The Braves now sit 2 games back of the final NL wildcard spot. They play the Reds again today at 3:40. In Flushing, Pete Alonso and the New York Mets took advantage of the Braves' loss yesterday with a 10-1 thumping of the Nationals. Pete Alonso recorded his 33rd home run in the victory. The Mets will turn to Jose Quintana today in the final game of the series against the Nationals. First pitch is 4:10. The Mets are currently tied with the Arizona Diamondbacks for the final 2 NL wildcard spots. On the pitch, Day 2 of the revamped Champions League today features Premier League champions hosting Inter Milan at noon. Man City will look to improve on their 2023-24 campaign, which saw them lose in the quarterfinals on penalties to the eventual champions Real Madrid. Paris Saint-Germain will begin life in the Champions League without Mbappe as they host Girona. Also, 2024 runners-up Borussia Dortmund will head to Belgium to face Club Brugge. In action right now, Sparta Praha lead Red Bull Salzburg 1-0, and Bologna and Shakhtar Donetsk are tied 0-0. Happening tomorrow night, the New York Jets host the New England Patriots in a Week 3 clash. Before Thursday's game, Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers talks about playing a game at MetLife Stadium for the first time since he got injured in his Jets debut last year.
Yeah, I feel good about it. It's been a long time since I took the field at Jet Life, so be a lot of emotions for sure. But we're thankfully already into the 3rd game of the season. Played 2 full games. Body feels good. So, about as good as you can on a short week.
And a Woj bomb in the NBA. ESPN NBA reporter Adrian Wojnarowski is retiring from broadcasting to return to his alma mater, St. Bonaventure, to take over the newly created position of general manager of the men's basketball program. That has been your 1010 Sports Update. I'm Spencer Pomeroy, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Teresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.